What's up, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Today, I want to talk about the Doom the Dark Ages trailer that was shown off at the Xbox Game Showcase a few days ago. While I wasn't personally a big fan of the showcase, as I felt it was filled with a bunch of Game Pass shit that I really don't think people care about, but it's just on there to fill it out to justify getting Game Pass because, oh, look, you have this many games on there. There are some standout titles that I liked, like Metal Gear Solid Delta, for instance. I'm a really big fan of the original Metal Gear Solid 3, so I'm really happy that it's getting a full on remake. And even though I'm not a fan of what Konami does nowadays, I am sure that the team working on it is probably going to do a good job. However, the main thing I want to talk about is the Doom trailer because holy shit, new Doom content. It's been so long. Because what was it? After the Doom Eternal DLC in 2021, the Ancient Gods Part 2, the only thing that we've gone after that was some more updates to Eternal, and then Mighty Doom, which I heard the servers are shutting down. I played it once or twice. It's fun. Not really something that I would get into. But here, we have a full-on new Doom game. And while I know a lot of people were expecting it to be Quake, I was kind of expecting it to be Quake, I'm still happy that it's Doom. After the acquisition of Microsoft buying Bethesda, I feel like they want to make a good moneymaker to look good when it comes to Microsoft. What the leak showed was that this new Doom game was going to be called Doom Year Zero, which while I'm still fine with the name Doom the Dark Ages, it sounds really cool. A part of me wishes that it was still called Doom Year Zero. But if it was called Doom Year Zero, I would be making a lot more Nine Inch Nails jokes right now, so probably a good thing that it isn't. So, what I want to talk about first about the trailer is just how it looks, right? It's a medieval Doom game, which I think, it looks good. I want to see what more we can get from it. It's obvious that it's a clear departure from 2016's realistic, gritty kind of style, and Eternal's trying to emulate the classic games with their designs. Doom the Dark Ages is dark and gritty like 2016, but all the new designs are medieval based. And I think it's the first time that we've gone like this much of a departure from the original demon designs. Because if you look something at like the Imp and the Barons of Hell, they look really cool, but they don't look like normal Doom enemies. Then you have Doom Guy, which has a new design with the armor, and he has the cape on it, which makes it look like the God of War Ragnarok Kratos. So I hope with Doom Guy in the Dark Ages, he's gonna keep that for the entire game, and the skins that are gonna come at it, because I'm assuming that the Dark Ages is gonna have skins like Eternal does. I hope that the skins for it have the cape on it. So like let's say the Praetor suit from 2016. I really want to see what that looks like in a cape. The weapons look fun as hell. It looks like all of them are one-handed to compensate for the fact that you have a shield on the other hand. And stuff in the trailer like the super shotgun, plasma rifle, and that skull bone launcher, which looks really fun. I'm all excited for that. But what I want to talk about here mainly is what the gameplay looks like. It's very obvious that the gameplay is going to be a lot slower than Eternal was, which kind of makes sense because Eternal was so fast that a lot of people couldn't get into it because it's such a technical game to such a high skill ceiling. I don't want to say the Dark Ages looks like a casual game, but it looks like a game that's easier to get into because it takes a slower pace. And with the indie shooters doing really well, indie movement shooters like Ultra Kill doing really well, I think Doom taking a different direction is a good thing. Game director Hugo Martins has said that a new game in the series would have been Grounded instead of just like Eternal. And I'm glad that it's not a direct sequel to Eternal because Doom has always been changing in every game, and that change is what gives us better games, so I'm happy with that. When it comes to the actual combat, Hugo Martin wasn't lying when he said that the new game would be grounded because you barely see Doom Guy jump in the trailer, which is definitely a change from Eternal. And you can obviously see there's a giant ass shield saw, which shield with a chainsaw on it. classic Doom design. And as you can see, there is an obvious parrying system there, which I am kind of skeptical to see how it would work in a Doom game. Because it seems like you would have to be playing more on the defensive as you can block bullets. I wonder how they would make a parry system work in a fast paced game. Because even though I was saying that the Dark Ages is going to be slower than Eternal, it's still going to be somewhat fast paced because it's a Doom game. It has to be, right? So the shield saw, the parry system, from what I've seen, and from what I can kind of assume, if you time a shield block correctly, then the enemy will falter into a state where they're stunned, and then you can get a shot off. So I don't think it's going to be used for finisher moves or anything, but it's going to be used to let you get a critical hit in, so to speak. And then once you see Doom Guy coming up on this Baron, you can see him do a bunch of melee attacks, like 2 mace swings and a kick to the stomach, right? I wonder if melee combat is going to be a part of this Doom game, because a melee combat would make sense in a game like this. Because it's slower, you have room for a bunch of different varieties of weapons. So maybe there's different weapons that you can use, like a mace, a sword. I want there to be a melee system. It would be really fun to see how that would work. And going back to the topic of the saw, you see him throw the saw and it cuts through enemies. And you can also see him bashing into enemies with the saw, which doesn't look like it kills them, but it does knock them away. So I think depending on how you use it, it can either be a killing tool or a tool to get enemies out of the way so you can focus on bigger threats. And then you have the caveat in the room of, oh Jesus Christ, that's a giant mech, which doesn't make sense in a medieval game. Not really, but it looks really cool. If you guys don't know, Hugo Martin designed mechs for the Pacific Rim movies. I don't know if it's the first and second or just the first, but I know that he's designed some. And there was a bunch of mechs around that you could see in Eternal. A lot of them were deactivated, and then you have the ones that showed up during the Ancient Gods Part 2 DLC. I'm pretty skeptical myself about how the mechs are going to work in this game. I don't know how they're going to make mech combat flow in with the normal gameplay, or if it's just going to be a cinematic, which I kind of hope that it's not a cinematic, because all this cool stuff, I want it to actually have gameplay value. Because for stuff like the Ancient Gods Part 2, when they showed you a dragon in the trailer for that DLC, you never actually got to ride it, you just did it in the cutscene. But from what I see about the dragon in this trailer, there's a section where you're flying through demons. So I hope that instead of it just being a set piece, which that would suck a lot if it was just a set piece, I hope that there are actual gameplay sections, and enough of them, where that it's fun and it's not annoying and it flows in between normal combat. I think that would be a great change of pace, because Doom 2016 and Eternal don't really have that. I mean, Eternal tried, because in the cultist-based mission, you got to play as the Revenant, which is supposed to advertise the battle mode part, but they didn't do much with it. It was only one section, and that was pretty much it. While we haven't seen any multiplayer footage shown in this trailer, I am kind of mixed. Like, Doom Eternal had a really good idea for a multiplayer with battle mode, but it ended up just making people mad at it because they wanted normal team deathmatch. But the thing is, team deathmatch was in Doom 2016, and I wasn't a big fan of the Doom 2016 multiplayer. I found it fun sometimes, but I never got into it much. Apparently, it was made by the same team that did the Halo 4 multiplayer, which kind of explains why they feel the same in a lot of ways. So while there's no multiplayer shown, I don't want there to be a multiplayer. I think as a single player game, this would do really well. And as shown with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, the multiplayer is going to die out fast. So they just need to have the campaign carry them, basically. One unfortunate part that I want to touch on is the music. While I don't think the music that they use in the trailer is bad, it's very obvious that it's different. I'm assuming that's being done by Andrew Holsholt and David Levy, just like the Ancient Gods DLCs, but it's very clear that the obvious lack of Mick Gordon is there. And if you haven't read into what happened between Mick Gordon and Bethesda and id Software, all that stuff, You really should. It's a fucked up situation. I'll link a video to it in the description. It's just really not great stuff. So, because of that situation, I'm assuming that Mick is not going to work on a Doom game again, which sucks because he made some of the most iconic songs from the games. Like, most people know Doom from the music. I mean, there's a lot of people I know that have never played a Doom game in their lives, but they know BFG Division. The only thing they fear is you. And I doubt we're going to get songs as iconic as those in this new game. And then finally, you have the part about the release date, which is 2025, which it's been a long time. I'm fine with though because from Doom 2016, there was a 4 year gap between that game and Eternal coming out, and then this game, if we're counting the DLCs, it's going to also have a 4 year development cycle before Eternal and then the Dark Ages. So that's a perfectly fine gap. It's been enough time since Eternal has been out where all the content and all the hype for it has subsided. I'm just really excited. There's no other game that I would want to play than Doom. And Doom is just one of my favorite franchises. I love playing the games. I don't know if I'm going to get into this new game as much as I have Eternal, but I'm optimistic. I want to see what the developers can do in a different type of game with different combat and how they can take these new mechanics and use them to their benefit. Because as we've seen from the Doom Eternal, adding more stuff is never a bad thing for id Software. They can make it work. So I'm excited for the game. I hope that it's really good. And also, a quick thing, at the end, that's a really cute reference to Godzilla 2014. I like that. And yeah, that's about it. I'm excited for Doom again, and I want to see what they have in store for us. See ya.
There's no level in 2016 called balls. Shaq.